Welcome to the Your Limitless Leadership podcast with Jenny and Brent Widman. Here, we believe leadership isn't just about titles. It's about how you show up in every aspect of life. Whether you're leading a business, building a legacy as an entrepreneur, guiding your family, or striving to lead yourself first, this podcast is for you. Join us as we dive into real conversations about growth, decision-making, and the courage it takes to lead with purpose. Get ready to be inspired, challenged, and equipped to become the limitless leader you are meant to be. This is Your Limitless Leadership podcast. Let's lead without limits. Welcome to Your Limitless Leadership podcast. And again, I have my fantastic and one of my favorite guest, always, not one of, the favorite guest, Mrs. Jennifer Marie Widman. And today, this is a topic that comes across with us quite a bit. And it's honestly just learning leadership is really what it comes down to. So if you look at it, most new leaders, they won't come out and say it because sometimes our ego, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but our egos won't let us, but we think it. I've been there. I'm guessing Jenny's been there. I was really good at selling. Like I was a top salesperson. I knew what to do every day. I knew how to win. I knew I could go control it. I knew the things I needed to accomplish. But now, since I'm really good at what I did, guess what? Now I'm the leader of people. And I'm not always totally sure what I'm supposed to be doing. And that's part of what we're going to talk about today are those things. So different points around that and different ways to do that. And I'm gonna turn this over to Jenny in a second. But one of the things I really want to kick it off with is we feel like, and I want you to touch on this, I guess, is what I'm asking, that we almost feel like we need to prove ourselves. But why is that? And what can we do instead of I guess proving ourselves? What do you see things that we could do better? Or where does this topic hit you when you look at things like that?
Yeah, I was talking to one of my friends, Amanda, not too long ago. She just reached out because she was struggling. She was a top salesperson, and in her company, she's in tech sales, and she reached out and she's like, I just got promoted and I'm so excited about it, but now I'm a leader, and all these salespeople don't know me as a leader. They know me as a rep. They know me as an equal. And I'm having self-confidence issues. And I don't know how to work around them. I need to figure this out because I don't feel like I belong in this position yet. And I'm trying to prove myself in this position, but I got awarded it and I don't know where to go from here. Jenny, help me. And I mean, the first thing I said to her was, you don't need to prove you belong. You need to start building trust in a different way. And you need to stop looking at yourself as one of the reps, one of the agents, one of the salespeople. You need to start seeing yourself as the person that's responsible for the environment, for the standard, for the numbers, for the development of the team. Like, you got this position for a reason. You were really good at what you did. They wanted more of you. They want to duplicate you. So they made you a leader. And so now you already know that side of it. Now we got to develop and help people understand how do they duplicate you of when you were a sales rep. So it's just like your old habits may not exactly work for your new role. There's different things that you'll be doing. One-on-ones, for example, is a thing that you'll be doing. Coaching, doing reviews, doing team meetings, having accountability conversations. So your schedule will look different, but you know how to do this job, and you got awarded this job because you were so good at selling. And so you need to see yourself in a different way.
Okay, so I have to ask you about that. I got to touch on that. And I'll give you a second to process. But so many of us as leaders, we default. Our default is when our team's not doing the things it should, the numbers aren't hitting, the months aren't going the way we want them to, all the things that go with it. We default back into, I will just take care of it. Why do you think that is? Why does that happen?
I mean, that's where your confidence comes from. Like, you know how to do it. Like, of course, you're going to default to something you know that you're so good at and that you mastered and that it's easy for you to just take over and bulldoze and sell because that's your confidence anchor. Now it's shifting that and helping someone else be confident in that, not just you.
That was going to be my question right there is what is the biggest, I guess, identity shift that going from salesperson, top five, top one, top whatever, because usually these are the people that get promoted into that position. You're really good at what you do. So obviously you can do everything else.
Mm-hmm.
What's the biggest, do you feel like the confidence factor is the biggest identity shift to going into that next evolution of who you are, not just your career, but who you are as a person?
No, you need to be clear, you need to be consistent, and you need to be willing to lead. There's parts of this where it's a humbling experience, but what we often see in coaching is when you get promoted, you overwork yourself, you overtalk, you micromanage, and you try to do all things. You have 20 plates spinning and you're trying to keep them all up, and you feel like you have to have the answer to everyone and everything because you're this newly promoted manager. And that is by far the absolute worst thing you can do. Like, you kind of you need to take a step back, you need to be vulnerable with your team, and you need to say, I will be here for you. I want to help you as best as I can so that we can help you with your goals. But you need to take a step back and ask them what their goals are. Ask them, get them to trust you, get them to like you, get them to see you in a different way. And I told Amanda, I said, I said, who was your best work friend? Like, who was the best friend in your organization that sold with you? And she told me the name. And I was like, that's probably going to be your worst enemy in leadership. I was like, they're either not going to look at you as respected or take advice from you because you went above them in that sense. But that could be your biggest liability. And so to have that conversation first and foremost with the person that you are closest with so that they can see you in a different light and know that there's a friend hat and a leader hat that you need to wear, the better you will be. But not everyone's going to like your newly promoted position, or maybe they will fake it and say they do and internally they don't. But ultimately, your goal, your shift as a leader is just to help the environment be better, to set the standard of expectations and controllable actions, and develop the team within.
That is amazing to me that, and I guess it's maybe in all of us or used to be in all of us or what have you, but development helps that. And it's, why wouldn't you be happy for that peer that got promoted because of what they do and what they're really good at? You should be on the same page. And I know you've talked about this as well, how, I mean, you've been put in that position where you now have to lead people or do one-on-ones or calls with people that are your people that care about you most or that you care about them most. And that's hard. I guess there's an accountability factor there too. Is, do you change anything with people like that? Or is it, if now we're talking about a couple things here, right? We're talking about promotion from within. Let me take a different spin on this. So let's also talk about, I came in from maybe a different organization, or I wasn't on that team. I came from a different team over to this one, and now I'm leading this team. So they knew who I was, but I wasn't on that team. Is it the same concept? Do I need to build the trust, the like, know, and trust with that? What are things that I should do when I come in? What should I be leery of?
I mean, the number one thing you need to be doing is developing trust. And the way to develop trust is having one on one conversations with these people as soon as humanly possible,
Yeah,
getting to know them
agree.
personally and professionally. And within that, their goals. What's important to them? Why is the money important to them? What are they working for? What means something to someone? Um, you know, for some people, it is recognition. For some people, it's legacy. For some people, it's promotability. For some people, it's money. For some people, it's freedom. For some people, it's travel and experiences. Like I can go on, but until you truly get to understand why someone is a diehard, like why they would work from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., why they would give their blood, sweat, and tears for your company and to crush records and make more money and all the things, like you really need to get to understand what their passion is, what their why is, and their family. Because when you can step aside from your role, when you can step aside from hitting the numbers and the revenue and the weekly scoreboard or whatever it is for your company, that's the minute they'll start liking you and trusting you, when they actually feel seen, when they feel like a person instead of a number. And there's so many people that we come across in coaching. I know, Brent, you can speak to this too, but they feel like their leadership is, they see themselves as a number. And that's why they get into coaching, because it's lonely. It's a lonely place to be. And so I'd say one of the very first, no matter what type of leadership position you just got to, it's like take a week and just spend time with your people one on one and get to know them and develop some trust.
Well, I like the fact you talked about goals, right? So let's break this down a little bit. When you talked about getting to know somebody personally and professionally, like and I'm going to use this for our coaching, the first thing we do on the first call is we ask you to fill out your goals, our foundation. And there's a reason we do this. We want to know you because you are wired and you're built different than I am. And if I just lead you or coach you or train you or develop you the way I want to be, I lost you. And that's what knowing their goals, whatever those goals are. And here's what I mean by this. There might be somebody like Jenny talked about that's driven by money. They might be in debt. They just want to maybe they're not in debt. Maybe they've already made money and they want to make more because they want to do X, Y, and Z. Maybe they want to travel. Maybe they just want to live a lifestyle business that they get to spend more time with their family. So they don't want to work from 7 to 7 and all these different things. But when you break down those goals and ask them for those, they're going to tell you that through that is what they're going to do by simply writing things on a sheet of paper or sending them to you. And then the next evolution is when Jenny says get to know them, sit down and talk to them about them. Dissect those. Why do you want to make money? What's that going to provide for you? What do you want to do with that? What does that look like? Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? Who does that impact? All those different questions that you're going to ask. Now you're part of them and not just, now it's the thing that they want to accomplish, not just what the company wants to do. It's two drastically different things. And that's what we miss so often as leaders is we just get in and and I was guilty of this. I expected my team or the individuals on my team to do the same things that I did that made me successful over time. And it just does not work that way. Jenny's different than I am, and I'm different than Jenny. So the things that worked for her aren't going to work for me. Put it that way. And we miss that at times. And this is one of the single biggest things that when you start out, now obviously, then you start looking at the things that we develop within them to help them. So there's the time and the skills and the motivation and the process and all the different things that go with it, right? But I feel like we miss that at times. And the simplest way to do it is the foundation of, what do you want to accomplish? Give me the 10 things you want to accomplish in the next year, or the 10 things you want to accomplish. And then you take it to that next, I don't want to say level, that next thing. Why do you think why do we struggle so bad with holding people accountable to what they want to accomplish? Or maybe we don't. Maybe, let me rephrase that. As leaders, many times we hold people to what we think they want to accomplish. And do you think that is why leaders struggle with accountability? Because they don't start with goals. They don't start with what they want to accomplish. We start with what we want to accomplish. Can you touch on that for a second?
Yeah, I didn't know if you were running with that or if you were at,
It just hit me as I said it out loud. You know?
People, yes, I'd say leaders are scared to have the accountability conversation because they feel like they're micromanaging their people. Most leaders that we work with are commission-based leaders, or they are holding a position within their sales team is commission-based. The more that they sell, the more that they make. And they feel like they're holding them accountable to the goal of the company, or the quota that they're being asked to do, or the percentage growth, or the revenue to get chairmans, or whatever that thing is. And it's like, the reason you feel like you're micromanaging is because you're not coaching or holding them accountable to what they say they want to do and their goals. You're holding them to your quota, your goals. And so we need to reframe that. We need to understand that everyone's different, and we need to individually understand what their specific goals are. Now, I get it. If you have 500 people underneath you, you cannot do it physically with all of those people. But what you can do is to your next tier leaders, and you can be the example of what it's like to hold those 11 people to accountable, so that hopefully they then take it down to their pipeline, their downline, and then everyone is being held accountable because you're doing it from the top. And so you have to truly understand what they want to be held to. Then you can hold them accountable because they said it out of their mouths. And people believe 80% what comes out of their mouth, 20% what comes out of yours. So we want them to tell you their goals because they'll actually believe it more.
Well, and now that you have their goals, you can start creating clarity around that.
Mm-hmm.
Because where most people miss is we don't have clarity. If you're listening to this and you're thinking, that's me, you're not alone. Let's call it what it is. You've got the drive, you've got the experience, like you have it. You have it. You know what you're doing. But something still feels off at times, or things could be better. We know that. They can be. You know there's more. What we do is we help committed leaders go from guessing and grinding to really leading with clarity and structure and confidence. We're offering complimentary DNA strategy calls. We're going to evaluate how you're leading, where performance might be breaking down. It happens. And what really needs to tighten up within your business, within your leadership, within those people around you. Then we're going to take this next step. And what we're going to do is build accountability, the skills and the systems to create that consistent, or those consistent results around it. If you're open to digging in a little bit, the link is below in the show notes. Just book yourdnacall.com and we will find time for you and we will dig in with you. All right, let's get back to it. So what are your goals? Well, I want to lose weight. Well, I want to make money. Well, I want to provide for my family. Well, I want my kids to be happy. Like those are okay, those are things, but how do you track that? And when you ask them what that means, what they want to do, what that actual thing is, now we can break that. And that's where I'm going with this. You can break that down to go, okay, this is what you need to do every single day or every single month to get to this point.
Mm.
And if as a leader we can't do that, well, one, they're not going to hit it, and two, they're not going to hit the things you want them to hit either. Let's just call it what it is. And now we're that micromanager, because now we're going to go back to what Jenny said. We're going to what the company wants them to do. And if I'm a salesperson, and I don't take this wrong, do I really, really care about what the company wants me to do? Or am I emotionally attached to what I want to accomplish? Those are two different things. If I set out the goals that live into what the company wants to do, I'm attached to that. That's important to me. If it's just mandated by the company, you need to hit this, there's not an attachment to that. I'm not going to go hell or high water to try and hit that thing. I'm not going to do more. I'm not going to do more activity. I'm not going to do the slight edge. I'm not going to do all the things. I'm going to settle at times. But if it's important to me, I'm going to get after it. And as a leader, those are the things we need to figure out. And if you're not, especially when you're a brand new leader, or if you're listening to this and you have not done that, check the ego. Don't worry about, well, it's going to be awkward. It's going to be weird if I go do that now. Who cares? Who cares? Let it go. Go have those types of conversations with your people, and the shift will happen within your organization. These are the things that separate the greats from the good. We have to get really clear on this. We just do. And that's where, and I'll turn this over to you, the expectations. How do I know? How do I know? How do I know how to set expectations on them? How do I know what those expectations are? How do I know how to help them with that? What
Well,
do I do?
a new rep is completely different than what I would say a veteran rep is, or a seasoned rep, or someone that they've been there a while and they do pretty well. Uh, uh, or if it's a veteran that has been there a while and they don't do well, I'd say all three of them are different conversations and different expectations. A new rep has absolutely no idea what a good day, quote unquote, looks like when it comes to controllable activities. But you have to go to the controllables. You have to go to the attitude, their effort, and their schedule. And we have to set parameters around that so that they understand what they can control and how they can control and how much effort they need to put into it. And so, any situation, we need to know their goal. We need to know how much they want to make, why they want to make it. We need to reverse engineer what it takes to do that. And we also need a basis of what a good day is. What is someone capable of? What can I do? Like if someone says, I want to crush the rookie record, we need to know what the rookie record is, and we need to know how to reverse engineer that to give them the actionable, controllable activities. Hey, this is how you can do it based off of an average closing percentage. But as we work with you, we can get you better at closing. But I'd say, depending on the type of person that you're talking to, it does shift, but you can reverse engineer what their goal is to help them understand how many appointments they need to run, how many they need to set, and how many people they need to call on, how many referrals they need to gather, and you can give them to them.
I'm going to use the L here, where she is running a mile every day.
Elle's our
And
daughter.
Elle's our daughter. She's 11. And one of her goals to get better at softball and just to get better at life is to run a mile every day, at least a mile. So we do a mile with her every day. And one of the things she wanted to do is do it under 9 minutes. Now, if we would have told her, Elle, you need to run this in under 9 minutes. Jenny, how do you think that would have went over?
Not very good after her first attempt.
Her first attempt was in that, 10-minute mark? Around there?
Mm-hmm.
And she was frustrated and she kind of got down on herself, but it was because she wasn't in this place yet. And the more we've gone out, the more we've done this, the better it's gotten. And the other day she hit what, 847 or something, I think it was
850, yeah.
850, because she kept pushing herself harder to get to that point because it was her goal. That's where I'm going with this. This was her thing, not our thing for her. And if we would have told her to do it, and this is how you do it, and this is what you need to do, and this is how, it wouldn't have mattered to her. But since she was trying to hit it, she pushed. She even said, Dad, Jenny, can you pace me? Can you run faster at that time so I can catch up to you? Which is the same thing your team is going to start asking you. They're going to ask you to do this. They're going to ask you to hold them to it. They're going to ask you to help them accomplish that goal because they want it. And now you just gained trust. Now you gained clarity. Now you've gained caring. Now you've gained all of these things. Plus, now you know what they need to work on as well, because now that they're starting to do these things, or they're doing these things more, you can see the little things they need to tweak or little things they need to practice. Where in the past, you can't see that if they're not doing the things, if they don't have goals to try to achieve. And it's kind of cool to see how that transitions into your family and people around you and their family and people around them, that it changes the narrative on them as well. So it's just little things like that, that this is life changing. I mean, it's the aspect of finding, like Jenny talked about, it's finding that, honestly, it's finding a coach. I will blatantly say that, because we can help you as well, leaders, with things that other people may not be able to help you with. It doesn't mean we know everything. It doesn't mean we have to know everything. It doesn't mean we have all the answers, but we certainly can help push you or help you help them. Put it that way.
And to, what I would say to a new leader is, like, you're not starting from zero. You're starting from experience. You're starting from, how to do this job. You've done it well. And now translating that is a completely different skill set. So it's growing you, it's challenging you. You are going to be a better person because of it. But the very first thing you need to do as a new leader is take a step back and just start earning trust. And trust isn't gained overnight, but
No.
every single time you show up on time or show up early, every single time you care about them and you ask about them personally, every single time that your nonverbals are powerful in a meeting, every single time they're looking at you and they're taking note of you, and they're respecting you more and more. And that's what you're, like, I think Brent just did a very good visual there of, like, pretend you're running with your 11-year-old daughter, and you know that she can run, she's good at it, she's not really pacing what she wants to pace, but you're out there in front of her pacing her. Maybe she's not going to catch you, and that's okay, but you're out there doing it too. You're helping them, you're encouraging them. You can't do it for them, and that's the biggest thing. Like, Brent can't go out there and run a mile for her. So same thing as you can't go out there and sell for them, but you can encourage them, and you can do it with them, and you can, like, give them the belief that they need in themselves, because they don't believe in themselves any more than you believe in them. And that's super vital and important. The second thing I want to mention, and I'd say this is probably the last one that we can talk about today, but the number one thing we want to be creating in our downline, in our people, are for them to be their best own problem solver. They're going to come to you with problems. They're going to come with you to situations. They're going to come to you, and you will want to have the answers for them, because you're going to want to prove that you're the leader that you know that you can be. But that's the worst thing you can do is give them the answer. The worst thing that you can do is enable people under you instead of empower people under you. And I talk about this concept a lot, but there are things that they're going to come to you and it will take you 5 seconds to answer that question. And I will encourage you not to answer that question, but to ask them questions instead. Well, what do you think the answer is? Where could you find this answer? What would you do in this situation? What are all best options? What are all best solutions to this problem that you're having? And to create the problem solving people so that they don't come to you for every problem that they have. You need to protect your time. And if you're not protecting your time, you're doing yourself a disservice. You're doing them a disservice. I mentioned, we have a 5-year-old HUD, and this is a concept with HUD that I have to practice all the time because there are times that I just want to do things for him because I can and because it's easy and it takes me 2 seconds. But there are times that I have to stop and I have to say, no, Jenny, no, he can do it himself. One of the things that occurred, and it was a very minute situation, but he was thirsty. He was on the couch. He was eating his breakfast and he's like, hey, mommy. And he asked me in a really nice way. He's like, can you please go get me some water? And I just want to be like, oh, I wanted to encourage that. Oh, he used his magic word. He said it very politely. But I also was like, I'm sitting on the couch too. I'm not doing anything different than you're doing. So no, HUD, can you go and get yourself water? Thank you. And you have to get them to solve their own problems or they're going to just keep coming to you every single time he's thirsty. He's just going to keep coming to me when he can easily go get a glass from the cup from the cabinet and go fill up water and get him water himself. So it's just every single thing you need to ask yourself, am I enabling them or am I empowering them? And there are some situations where you do have to solve their problem because they cannot do it themselves. So I would say that as well. It's like you have to make sure that it's actually a problem that they probably don't know the answer to, that you can help them and encourage them and walk them through it. But most of the time they can do it themselves.
I love that you just hit on that with time management because we're not going to get deep on that at all, but just to call that out a little bit, we think time management so often is just planning things on our calendar. And what you just talked about is something that is drastically different, but it is time management, it's self management, it's helping people develop themselves, which also gives you the time to develop more and other people and all the stuff that goes with it. And I just wanted to touch on that because we think so often time management's it's an ever evolving. It's all of that stuff. It's not just a thing. Put it that way. So, and I agree with you. I'm not going to rehash this, but if we keep doing things for people, it makes you feel good, but it doesn't help you. That's really what it comes down to. So it's asking those questions of what could they do? How can they help themselves? I mean, it's simple questions like Jenny talked about. What do you think we should do? What have you already tried? What's the real underlying issue? What would you do if I wasn't available? Where would you go? And I know which is funny in your marriage too. Jenny and I have asked each other that at times. So if I wasn't here, what would you do? And that's part of it. Like, it's okay. Now, it's okay to help people over here, but it's also okay to make sure they know, but ask it with love. You're not just telling them I'm not helping you, I guess, put it that way. So hopefully, hopefully you listen to this and you look at yourself because we all need help with things. Every single one of us. And I don't care if you are the top of the top or if you are a brand new leader. We all need help with things. And I'm going to say this, do your darndest to check the ego at times, but maybe I asked this question the other day on a coaching call. I said, if you took you out of the equation and you were looking at yourself, what would you tell yourself you need to work on? And she was like, wow, I've never been asked that before. and she got to dissect herself, and it's pretty cool to have self-awareness and self-clarity on what you need help with. I would do that as a leader, whether, and again, whether you're new, whether you've been hired within the organization, whether you're switching organizations, where do you start? I don't care if you've been there for years. Start with your goals. Start by asking them their goals and what they want to accomplish, and you will gain trust. I promise you that. So, anything to add to that, Mrs. Widman?
Yeah, I just want to say, like, if we are speaking to you today, like, good job. Like, you
Yeah.
did you accomplished something that not everyone accomplishes, and people saw something in you that they truly believe in you for being a leader. And that comes with pressure. It comes with a lot of second guessing. It comes with, I remember the very first time I went from being number one in sales to the top of the leader that you could be the next year. And I just felt like this sense of like, oh my God, what am I doing? Like, I remember feeling the feelings of, I, I can't believe I'm here. And I just got to act as if, and I just got to figure it out as I go. And I remember this overarching like amount of pressure. And so, um, you do have a support system. You can find support systems even within your organization. But there are things out there that will help you. And I guess the number one thing I would say is leadership is lonely at times. It's very lonely. You don't want to puke down, I call it. Like, you don't want to vent to your people that you're coaching. You want to stay positive. You want to be their rock. And sometimes the leader just needs to puke. Sometimes the leader just needs to vent, to get it off their chest. And that can be what your leader's for. And that is also what Brent and I are for. And so I just want you to know that those are all normal feelings, and those feelings are valid.
I love it. You are spot on. I'm going to leave it at that because that's good for you. Because I'm glad you said that, because that's a big deal. When you're a leader, it comes with pressure, but you handle it and you ask for help. Good for you. Thank you. The way to find us, obviously you're already listening to this, but you'll see below Your Limitless Leadership, unless you're listening to it. DNAcall.com is the easiest way to find us. Goes right to Jenny or I or one of our coaches, and we will reach out and just discovery, have a conversation to see what you want to accomplish and what you want to do. So thank you again for being on here. Thanks for joining us on the Your Limitless Leadership podcast with Jenny and Brent Widman. We hope today's conversation inspired you to think differently about leadership, not just in your career, but in every part of your life. Remember, leadership starts with leading yourself first. It's about taking action, making bold decisions, and showing up with purpose. Now, it's time to take what you've heard today and put it into practice. Whether it's in your business, your community, your family, or your own personal growth, start leading without limits. You have the power to become the leader you're meant to be. Until next time, keep pushing your boundaries and leading with purpose.